All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. So, after much speculation, quarterback Matthew Stafford will not be changing that home address after all, as the Super Bowl winning quarterback and the Los Angeles Rams have agreed on a restructured deal, which means more than likely that the signal caller is going to finish his professional football career wearing blue and gold. We heard about the talks between Stafford's camp and both the Las Vegas Raiders as well as the New York Giants. These talks were real, but now that the clouds and the dust have settled, he's sticking with the Rams. And honestly, I'm shocked by this pivot because it looked like the relationship between the Rams and Stafford was coming to an end and they were heading in a different direction. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, Matthew Stafford staying with the Rams is the best outcome for the team. And I say this because Stafford is still playing football at a very high level. We saw the Rams win the NFC West this past season. They gave the eventual Super Bowl champions Philadelphia Eagles a run for their money in the divisional round of the postseason in the snow. Okay, and when it was all said and done, if you're the Rams, you want to try to build off of that. So, for first and foremost, it was kind of shocking for me to hear the discussion that the Rams were looking to get off of Matthew Stafford. Okay, that's my personal opinion. Secondly, they don't have their heir apparent yet, and it's one of those where if you have a veteran quarterback and you're ready to get off of him and go in another direction, well, you most certainly need to have the guy there who you were going to pivot to. And the Rams don't have that guy yet. And then on top of that, this is not a strong quarterback class overall that's coming into the NFL draft this year. So I think at the end of the day, it was best for the Rams to stick with Stafford. Stafford went out there, he talked to teams, and I think it was a scenario where he could have had success potentially with another team. But at the end of the day, I think it was best for the Rams to keep him in LA. Like I said, the Rams are right there in the NFC. Okay, they're one of the top teams, and I think what this organization needs to do, and I think they've done a solid job of this since they've had Sean McVay as their head coach, as far as putting talent around a Matthew Stafford to allow him to go out there and continue to succeed. You look at the offensive line as one point to focus on for the Rams to improve going into next season. On top of that, Cooper Cup looks like the Rams are going to get off of him. You still got a youngster in Puka Nakua as well, but at the end of the day, you can never have enough weapons on offense for the quarterback to get the football too. Then on top of that, you look at the young defense led by, well, now he's no longer a rookie, Jared Verse, and what he could potentially be for the Rams as well. So I definitely think the potential is there for Los Angeles. And at the end of the day, it worked out for the Rams because cooler heads prevailed. Again, it was one of those where you read the writing on the wall. It looked like Stafford was done there, and they've done a 180. Okay. I'm not sure why completely. I'm sure the story will come out soon as to why this decision was made by both quarterback and team. But nonetheless, I think at the end of the day, it was best for all parties involved. Now, in regards to some of those teams that were interested and were trying to get Matthew Stafford to play for them in 2025, most notably the Raiders and the Giants. It is definitely time for them to call an audible. And of course, both of these teams clearly, that they need a quarterback. You knew that they needed a quarterback last season with the results that were going down. So, there's rumors about Aaron Rodgers to the Giants. Well, I'll tell you like this, the way that they're talking, it's a possibility. I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but at least, New York is doing their due diligence on it. I'm sure that hypothetically speaking, if Rodgers were to sign with the Giants, I'm sure that the New York media there would have themselves a field day just due to the fact that it did not work out for Aaron Rodgers with the New York Jets. I think if you're the Giants, and I'll say it just like it was when the Giants were talking about Matt Stafford, if you're going to go out there and get a veteran quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, that's one thing. And of course, I got a lot more to say if that's going to be the case. But nonetheless, you still can use that on one of those early picks and get yourself a quarterback for the future. Okay. And maybe it's something where, hypothetically speaking, the Giants sign an Aaron Rodgers. Giants draft a quarterback early, and it's one of those where Aaron Rodgers is now a seat warmer, for the future of the franchise, kind of like how Kurt Warner was for New York back in 2004 when they first picked up Eli Manning. We got to wait and see. On the flip side with the Raiders are definitely going to go out there and get themselves a quarterback. You've got Pete Carroll installed as a new head coach. You got Tom Brady working behind the scenes as a minority owner, and I guarantee you he's going to have some influence in this decision. But then on top of that, the Raiders have themselves a ton of cap space heading into this offseason, nearly 100 million to be exact. You got some veteran quarterbacks out there. You've got a Russell Wilson, you've got an Aaron Rodgers, you've got a Sam Darnold, you got a Justin Fields. I talked about this with my good friend Dennis Ward a couple of nights ago. And I think the Raiders are definitely going to go out there and try to scoop themselves a veteran. Hopefully, for their sake, they don't go out there and go too far as overpaying for somebody. But nonetheless, buckle up for a wild and interesting offseason in the National Football League, especially at the quarterback position. This is the first domino to fall here as far as Stafford remaining with the Rams, because, of course, um, hypothetically speaking, if Stafford had left, it could have shifted the landscape, if you will, as far as how things would have played out for the NFL draft. Because, of course, if one of those teams that needs a quarterback like the Raiders or the Giants had taken had gone out there and made a deal for Stafford, maybe they're not taking a quarterback early. We don't know. But nonetheless, that's the first domino that has fallen, the first big domino, if you will, from the quarterback position. And I think the chips are going to continue to fall in place because, again, there's not a lot of quality quarterbacks in this year's draft, which means the veteran quarterbacks are still going to be in demand. And of course, you've got more teams that need quarterbacks than there are quality quarterbacks available. So at the end of the day, some of these veteran guys who you thought, you know what, they might not be cashing in again in the National Football League. Think again, some of these guys are going to have the opportunity to go out there and cash in over the next several weeks in free agency. Steve P, what is going on, my man? I'll tell you like this on a side note. You made a great beat for me once upon a time for my old website. And I think it might be time for you to do a remix or do something else with me. I'm just throwing it out there, man. I'm putting you on Front Street. Yeah, I did it. But nonetheless, the first domino has fallen here for the quarterback carousel in this round for 2025. And let's see where that next chip is going to fall. Yes, I do still have it. I still have the file. Okay. Um, but nonetheless, let's see what the Raiders go out there and do. What's going to happen with the Giants? What's going to happen with the Cleveland Browns with their whole Deshaun Watson fiasco? What's going to happen with the Pittsburgh Steelers? Are they going to lose both Justin Fields and Russell Wilson? Where's Aaron Rodgers going to end up? What's going to happen with the Kirk Cousins scenario with the Atlanta Falcons? A lot of questions that need to be answered, but nonetheless, the first question was answered today. Matt Stafford is staying with the Rams. Matt Stafford is going to keep on wearing the blue and gold in LA. And let's see what's next for this quarterback carousel in the National Football League. And let's see what the Rams can do this offseason to put more talent around Stafford as they look to make themselves another Super Bowl push this year. Nonetheless, surprised by it, but not surprised by it. But nonetheless, Stafford is staying home. And folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Also, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365, and you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. Steve P, my man, as always, it was a true pleasure. Happy Friday, and I hope you enjoy and make the most out of this weekend. And once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I'm signing off, and I'm saying thanks once again for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.